Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Tommy Wave Budget Deck series. I've been really looking forward to doing this for a while now. I have quite a lot of friends who do play Hearthstone a bit more casually, and a lot of them are always asking me, what's a great deck to make while I'm on a budget. We don't have thousands and thousands of dust, don't have massive collections. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of dive back into that budget mentality and see what we could come up with. So I guess if you're someone who's looking for a deck that's gonna climb to high legend, or to be honest, even like past rank 5, this might not be the series for you. But if you are one of those people who just wants to scrape together a deck, complete some quests, maybe even do some laddering with, and also have some options in the future, this might be the series for you. So there's a bunch of different classes. I want to go through all of them, but today I wanted to start with something that wasn't Hunter, wasn't Warlock, because those are, when you think budget decks, those are the first ones that come to mind. I actually wanted to start with something different. We'll get to it in a second. So we'll go through the quick criteria for the series. This isn't hard and fast, and we can definitely change it as we go along if it is no longer suitable. So there's no set dust limit. I don't want to be too strict on ourselves. We don't want to set an unreasonably low or unreasonably high dust limit, but we do understand that some people are I guess a bit handicapped when it comes to dust. But what we want to focus on is the core of the deck. So a lot of decks have those powerful synergy cards or that engine, and we want to make sure that when we do make a deck, we're including all of those cards, and that makes up the major expenditure of dust. Everything around that, what we want to do is have it be modular. So we want to have a bunch of common options, maybe some rare options, and then also in the future, if you want to keep going with the deck, maybe some legendaries or epics. And we'll kind of highlight those choices as we go along. And we see there next we have having a reasonable upgrade path. So I think a lot of the decks that we'll be taking a look at are really I guess budget versions of existing archetypes, and I want to make sure that when we are playing those decks, that we're aware of what the tier 1 version looks like and how we can get there. So what epics or legendaries we can craft to eventually get to those tier 1 decks, so that the dust that you're spending isn't going to be wasted by not being able to, by having all these unusable cards when you do want to start progressing. And right at the end there, we are about to have rotation, which is I'm really excited for. When the next set comes out, we are losing a bunch of sets. So that's Karazhan, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, and Old Gods. So I want to prioritize cards that aren't going to rotate out. I'd feel really bad telling people to spend 100 or 200 dust on cards that aren't going to be usable in a couple of months' time, and I'll highlight those cards, and they'll probably fit into that section of things that if you would like to spend more dust, you can go for it, but not part of the core of the deck. Alright, so without further ado, the first deck that we have, as you probably see if you're watching this on YouTube, is going to be Priest. So Priest has a couple of strong archetypes right now. We've actually played some in the past. I've got two of the decks you've seen me play right here. We've got Spiteful Priest that focuses around on Spiteful Summoner and those big spells. I've got a dragon package in there as well. Unfortunately, Spiteful Summoner being an epic, Free from Amber being a rare, and a lot of those dragon package being rare, epic, even Curious Glimmer, it's an epic. It really pushes it out of that budget space. Although maybe it's worth revisiting at a later time. A Spiteful Summoner deck with just the summoners and the Free from Amber's mind control, and we'll figure something else out there. What I did really want to do though is Combo Priest, Inner Fire Priest. I think it's a really sweet deck, and a lot of it does come in at rare or below. You can see it's a list that I got off of I think Vicious Syndicate. It's the whole idea of Inner Fire Priest is we want to land some minions. We've got a lot of 1, 2, and 3 drops here. Then we're going to buff it up with Power Word Shield, double its health with Divine Spirit or 2, and then use Inner Fire to set its attack to be equal to its health. So hopefully it's 30 attack. We attack in and kill our opponent. So it can be a very quick deck. It can go off, and it also means your opponent has to be pretty on top of keeping your board clear. And a lot of those cards are common as well, or even base set. So what I've got here is what I want to call the core of the deck. It's not always going to be this big or this small, but I think these are the most important cards for the archetype. So we've got our combo pieces in Inner Fire, Divine Spirit, and Power Word Shield. Cabal Talon Priest is also kind of fits into the role of combo piece and board presence. This is one of the most powerful cards for Priest that's been printed. It is going to rotate out, but it's only commons, so hopefully the and it's probably irreplaceable, so even though this is about to rotate out, I still think it's a great craft. And to support that, we've got our amazing early drop minions in Northshire Cleric, which will also help us draw into a lot of our pieces, hopefully. And Radiant Elemental, which makes going off a fair bit easier because it reduces the cost of all our spells. So, we can play Power Word Shields and Inner Fires for free, Divine Spirits for 1, etc, etc. So that's what I want to call the core of the deck. It actually contains no rares, it's all common or basic cards. So let's see what we can do once we actually spend some dust on the deck. This is something that I came up with. It's certainly not I guess finished, it's not refined, but we'll go through some of the choices that I made and why. So I've gone for a bit of a budget dragon package. So we've got our Netherspite Historians. It's another card that's going to rotate out soon, but the Discover mechanic can allow us to actually drastically improves our win rate, because we can get cards that are extremely good in certain matchups. So if you're against an aggressive deck, you could be pulling cards like Duskbreaker, which we'll get to in a second, and against those control decks we can look at taking those really big dragons to hopefully close the game out, things like Ysera and stuff, and everything in between. So cards like Netherspite Historian are going to be, even though they are rotating out, be pretty high on the craft list. Speaking of dragons and Duskbreaker, we have the card itself. This card is rare, but it is from Kobolds and Catacombs, so it's gonna be around for a while, and it's one of the best anti-aggro cards that Priest has. It's not only going to clear the board of a lot of small threats, but it's going to stick around and give us some board presence, which we can hopefully, maybe we can buff it up and go to town, or just at least have another threat there to stay in the game and prolong the game. Because the more we prolong the game, the more draws we get, and hopefully we can kill our opponent. Now, at the end of the curve is where you can have some play around with things. I've gone for 2 Twilight Drakes and 2 Cobalt Scalebanes. Now you would have seen in the other decks they play Draconid Operative, which is this boy. Where is he? Draconid Operative. Okay, so he is about to cycle out, unfortunately. He is from from Mean Streets. but is an amazingly powerful card. This is actually one of the this deck's better cards at winning a longer game, because it allows you to keep having threats and once again keep prolonging the game. So if you do want to spend a bit of extra dust on this, I would highly recommend the Draconid Operative over the Cobalt Scalebane. However, if you want to keep it more budget, Cobalt Scalebane's great. It's common. We've got so many low drops that if we do manage to have board presence, you can snowball, and also a dragon. So turns on our Dustbreakers and our Netherspite Historians. Twilight Drake instead is where I've chosen to spend a bit more dust. This card is in Classic, so it's going to be around for the foreseeable future. Classic set that it's never going to rotate out, and it's really great at being just a huge threat, like if having 6 or 7 health, because it's very easy for us to combo off and kill someone with a minion with such high health. So our opponents probably going to try and get rid of this durable threat. The only other thing is that right now there are a lot of silences being played, so this is going to be a bit of a silence magnet, so we want to keep our eyes out for that. Alright, so what have we done in the meantime? We've got our dragon package there, we've got our core of the deck, our combo pieces. Let's see what cards I've chucked in here as kind of the flexible slots, and these aren't the definite choices. I might even change them up as we go along, but these are the cards that you can swap in and out for cards that you like, or cards that you feel are better against the decks that you're facing. So I've got one silence in here, the actual card silence. I've also got a Spellbreaker at the end. Right now I'm seeing a lot of Q blocks and stuff, so these cards are very good. Also on the turns that you're comboing off, you can clear a silence with these, and clear a taunt rather, and bash through. So nice flexible cards, and they're also I generally recommend, if right now at least, if you do have a couple of spare slots in your deck and you're not sure what to put in there, just put a couple of silences or Spellbreakers or Ironbeak Owls in there, and you'll find that worst case scenario they're just a reasonable body, and best case scenario you completely wreck your opponent's strategy. We are in Priest, so we do have the option of playing Cabal Songstealer, but just because I think we're trying to keep it quite low, we'll go with the Spellbreaker, a 1/1 split of Spellbreaker and Silence. We've also got a Potion of Madness in here, lots of aggressive decks out there, lots of Zulocks. We can try and get rid of their board presence with this. Actually, I'm thinking I want to put a second one of these in there, but we'll play some games and see how we go. Novice Engineer, one of the key cards that we don't have access to in this deck is Shadow Visions. The reason I say we don't have access to it is because it is an epic. Now it is from Ungoro, so it's not going to cycle out soon. This is the biggest hit we take when doing a budget version of this deck. So Shadow Visions allows us to discover a copy of a spell in our deck, so it gives us essentially more copies of Inner Fire and Divine Spirit, or Power Word Shield for that matter. It goes really well with Radiant Elemental because it reduces this cost to 1 and then by 1, and then the spell that we get by another 1. But this, if you've got these, definitely try and slot them in, and if you want to spend some dust on this deck, this and the Draconid Operative, you basically have the entire tier 1 deck at that point, like the proper version of it. So that's a good one. But we've got Novice Engineer kind of playing the role of that, of Shadow Visions, just trying to dig us deeper into our deck, and that's the same idea behind Acolyte of Pain as well. We want to just try and dig deeper, find all of our combo pieces so we can go off. Acolyte of Pain also just being great with our health buffs and our healing. Moving on, I've got a one of Cookie Chemist in here. Some lists of this combo priest do play the 2-cost Chemist, the Crazed Alchemist, this guy, as almost another copy of Inner Fire. you know, if we have our Twilight Drake and we, you know, Divine Spirit, so it's got, you know, a bunch of health, we can Crazed Alchemist to swap that and try and, if our opponent's got no taunts, we can hit them. The only disadvantage is it then has 4 health. But if all we're trying to do is kill them that turn, swapping the attack and health is actually a really useful effect, and handy against some aggressive decks as well, as it allows us to have an effect on board and also have a minion there as well. So I've chosen to, unfortunately Crazed Alchemist is a rare, so I've chosen to include Kooky Chemist instead, because it's a common. Is going to cycle out, but if you open some Mean Streets packs, you've probably got one of these floating around, so I'd recommend trying that out, but certainly a flex card, and feel free to change it for maybe another Potion of Madness or whatever you feel is appropriate. Other than that, some considerations that I would make. Shadow Ascendant, this is seen more in the Spiteful Priest, but just a great card if your opponent doesn't manage to get on board early. It can really snowball just like our Scalebane, except this one comes down on turn 2. Also a common, really powerful one that's not cycling out. Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Word Death as reasonable removal cards. Right now though, I'm not sure how I feel about them, especially Death, because Death, like 3 mana, is quite clunky, and by the time our opponent's got huge threats out, we might have already lost our ability to win the game. But I think if you find that these kind of spells will be useful at the ranks you're playing at, feel free to slot one in, see how it goes. Other than that, we're not playing the Twilight Acolyte, but this is another great one to go with our Dragon package. Same kind of line with Kooky Chemist in that it gets us on board, and also is has an immediate effect and is also a body, but is an epic. But if you've got one, chuck it in there. And some cards that I might experiment with would be Unidentified Elixir, just getting a nice buff on things, try and get it a bit bigger, so when we double its health, it's just a bigger creature. And there's also some modes on this which are very useful, like the Death Rattle, return it to your hand, just once again letting us prolong the game. Other than that, Master Spell sees play in some lists. We've already been over Draconid Operative, and you could even try Power Word Tentacles, maybe as a one-off, just as a way to keep your threats alive. But it does require you to have board presence, and that's something that we're going to be acutely trying to be keen on. Anyway, I hope that helps you kind of understand what we're trying to do with the deck. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below or on Hearthstone. Other than that, what we'll do is we'll play some games and see how we go. I'll be back in a second. Alright, we're back. The first game here with our budget combo priest, budget inner fire priest. So I think we want to try and make sure we get our North Shire clerics and stuff. We're against mage, so probably secret mage is what we've been seeing the most. It also has a really good win rate right now. We are listening to a person who I only just recently found out is Australian, apparently. Sad Boy Sheldon, aka Sewerslvt. You can fill in the gaps yourself. Our opponent's going ham here. Oh, jeez. We want to try and just, get some draw on. It's a great turn for our opponent though. So this is likely explosive runes. But yeah, Sad Boy Sheldon, definitely check them out on YouTube. Very funny person, great content, and check them out on Bandcamp as well. It's really, really, I don't know, really mood setting tunes. Alright, so now we get to see the power of Duskbreaker, where not only have we do we get to clear the board, we're still seeing pretty on 25. So this wasn't Counterspell or Explosive Runes, so it could be Ice Block. So our options here, we can trade in and play Twilight Drake, just a big threat. Alternatively, we can Scale Bane and just attack in. And then our opponent will probably trade with the Scale Bane and the Hero Power, leaving us with a 6/3 Duskbreaker. It uses our mana a bit better as well. Let's go with that. Although, yeah, admittedly, we probably should have attacked first, in case it was a random Vaporize or something. Yeah, I also want to know what everyone thinks, what deck I should do next. If you've got a sweet budget list that you want to see done, or you've even got your own, you want me to check it out. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter, or in the comment section of YouTube, or on Hearthstone. Send me the deck code, and I'll check it out. I know there's definitely some classes I'm very keen on playing, and some classes I'm not so keen on playing. You reckon I should do Mage? I think if I was going to do Mage, I would do this deck. I would do Secret Mage, because it has a very like the core of the deck is really, in terms of Dust, it's just like Counterspell and Explosive Runes, which are both rare. And then if you want to splash out, you can play the Cabal, the 6 mana 5/5 that reduces its cost, Crystal Runner. That card is about to rotate out, but it's super strong. It's only a rare as well. Other than that, every other card is like common or basic. Alright, so what do we want to trip this Explosive Runes with? Maybe the Radiant Elemental? So we're getting quite high on mana. I have no idea what these secrets are. Maybe like Ice Barrier? Yeah. Ice Barrier and Ice Block? Maybe this is Big Spell Priest in disguise. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. So, get our card draw on. But yeah, it does have cards like Firelands Portal and the Medivh's Valet, which are both in Karazhan. I'm still not really sure how I should be approaching those kinds of cards. If you are someone who is playing on a budget and you think that Karazhan cards are just like out of the scope of this, then let me know. good. So we could go Tar Creeper Talon Priest. We'll see if they have a polymorph. I've been really high on polymorph lately in Mage, but if they don't have it, then they might have to try and go through this Tar Creeper. Oof, double Crystal Runner. Yeah, this card's very good. Well, we can 16 them. I mean, if they're not on polymorph, like that was a good polymorph turn. So if they're not on it, maybe we should fire it off and just start trading, going to town that way.
Your soul.
No counterspell either. So I think we want to. Was that Frozen Clone instead? It was. Oh dang! I was like for. Is that card off the top? Frostbite. I was for sure that they were gonna have explosive runes, and I wanted to trigger it with the Cookie Chemist rather than the Scale Band. This also gives us another turn if we need to Duskbreaker. Though maybe we didn't want to trade our North Strike there again. So this turns off our Duskbreaker, but we are ahead, so... Oh, not that one. We are ahead, so... Yeah. So they're a Fireball down and a Firelands Portal down. We've got the board. They've got Ice Block and a thing. I've almost given up on trying to guess what they have. Don't want to overcommit just in case there's a Flame Strike waiting around for us. Seen a couple of these like secret mages just splashing a one off. Flame Strike and Primordial Glyph obviously can find the answer. And we should probably be a bit more we should have been conscious of meteor placement. Rather. It's already dead, friend. How do I want to approach this? See if it's explosive runes. It's not. So heal this. and we'll buff this. So it's still going to take us 2 turns to if we can kill them, but once again we really weren't playing enough around Meteor. Another secret as well. Will this actually be the counterspell or explosive runes? Maybe they're on some sweet tech where they like aren't playing counterspell or explosive runes. It's just like off meta choices. Okay. There's the block. And I think we'll just sit pretty. Our opponent's gonna have some, no.
Well played. Thank you.
There you go. Oh, what a great start. I was honestly thinking that, like, gosh, I don't want this to be like a terrible idea and like we're gonna just get rolled by all these top tier decks and these great players, and yeah, be uploading videos with like us going on a losing streak. I'm really happy to get one on board. Thank you for the positivity. We see our opponent there was maybe on something a little bit different, and we never saw the counterspell or explosive runes, so I'm gonna keep this Talon Priest. Hopefully this is a matchup where we can get really good value out of Potion of Madness. This card can really single-handedly turn the tide of games. That's why I wanted to get a second one in there. Against a lot of these Zulocks that are going around, some turns they just you know, go Flame Imp into Vulgar Homunculus, and then you get to kill something and like really wound another minion. Sometimes you get to trade like their Kobold Librarian. Their Kobold Librarian for their Flame Imp, and it's phenomenal. There was some thought there to going Coin Tar Creeper, just so if they have like, I guess if they had backstab they probably would have played it, so, but just reduces the effectiveness of them having a dagger up with 2 charges. Yeah, if you do want to come hang out with me in the beautiful chat here whilst I'm recording the next set of videos, feel free to come join me. It's, as you can see, the link is right here. We usually go live at midday Australian Eastern Standard Time. It's about 1 AM GMT. Yes, you are in the beautiful chat. Our opponent doesn't DC here. Been seeing a fair bit of that lately. Just people having connection issues, I guess. Play the Tar Creeper here. I think one thing to be conscious of is that our opponent could be on saps, and if we Cabal Talon Priest and buff one of our Northshire Cleric, that makes it pretty appetizing to just get rid of the buff there. I'm passing again. I'm scared. Very scared. What's our opponent doing? I get these like alarms going off in my head whenever our opponent just doesn't do anything. I'm like, why aren't they like playing Kalaseth? Why aren't they like or like eviscerating and backstabbing? And yeah, like what this turn's the one where they go like, you know, backstab, sap, SI7. Just play a million cards and our board's gone. There's a sap. Ah, that might be why.
Hand is too full.
Alright, so we're some kind of mill rogue, so we want to try and deploy a bunch of threats and not draw cards. But we're going to have to this time, because we want to get rid of this Cold Light Oracle so they can't shadow step it, or they might be playing Brewmasters as well, so and it doesn't mean that they only have one more Cold Light in their deck, so if they don't draw it anytime soon, we'll be in an alright place. Also, our opponent could straight up be dead if they don't deal with this Twilight Drake very soon. No combo. Wow, really awkward hand for our opponent. It's unfortunate. So I think we will just hit the 10. Like that gets a bunch of cards out of our hands. If our opponent's going to try and mill us, then they're going to hopefully give us our last Inner Fire or Kooky Chemist and our first Divine Spirit, and this way, like, we have lethal on the board. If they vanish, we're okay. Which seems like that would be they're out. We don't even mill if they vanish us. That's pretty good. Alright, so how do we deploy these? Definitely want to drop a Twilight Drake. So maybe we go Twilight Drake, Novice Engineer, Northshire Cleric. Sweet. So with them so low, this Divine Spirit's going to be really tasty. We just don't want to mill our last Inner Fire or Kooky Chemist. Particularly, we don't want to get milled and also like lose our board. Like if they had the second sap here, it would be pretty bad. Or a silence would be pretty bad for us as well. Vile Spine, yep. And we just drew it, so that was very on point from our opponent. Alright, let's see if they have the next file spawn. Even a Tar Creeper with Cabal Talon Priest and Divine Spirit and the Kooky Chemist represents a really sizable threat. Or rather, it represents lethal. As we, the Talon Priest buffs this to 8 health, this doubles it to 16, this swaps it so it's 16 attack. In fact, if our opponent doesn't kill our board, we, like our entire board, we do have lethal. So they might like leave this Duskbreaker alone. Do we have lethal? Or are we 1 mana off? It's 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'd be... No, wait, we have 9 next turn. Kingsbane. Interesting. Okay. Well, we don't want a Spellbreaker. We don't want a Spellbreaker or Draco. That would be bad. Or maybe Savage BM as well. Who knows? We'd probably lose afterwards, so we'd get our comeuppance. 2-0. 2-0 with this budget deck. At rank 10 as well. I'm really happy with this. I was, to say this is better than expected is correct. It's correct. Will we 3-0 with the budget deck? Surely not. So Paladin's probably Murlocs. So maybe we want to really just hard mull to try and hit our Cleric and our Potion of Madness. This deck's probably the other reason to have 2 copies of Potion of Madness. Ooh. Ah. Greetings from our opponent. How nice of them. How nice of you, Master. Thank you, Master. Yep. It's one of the disadvantages of the archetype is that your combo pieces can clog up your hand. I think we just have to take the Fairy Dragon here. Gives us another play. Like I don't think either of us are going to live to turn 10 for us to play Deathwing, and Temporis is, I would say, the easiest way we would lose the game. Like for Temporis to be good, we would have to clear their board. We would really have to clear their board. Another Nether Spike. Well, we do really want to hit a Duskbreaker, so yeah. There she is, this beautiful twilight breathing girl. So the question is, if we do we play it next turn, or do we sandbag it for their Call to Arms turn? That might. Do they expect the second one though? That's the question. We even get to keep one of our Nether Spite historians as well. So, I think if I was, I'd be feeling, no, I would have felt pretty good at slamming a Call to Arms there, so maybe they don't have it. Also, I'm not sure what secret they'd be playing here. Let's find out. Get down? Yep. So, the question is, do we want to go like... We don't want to play this Scalebane because it turns off our dust. Oh no, we have the Fairy Dragon, so... Let's Novice Engineer. Maybe our opponent's on like Blessing of Kings and didn't have a target for him. Really interesting. Now we have the thing of, can we kill our opponent? Scalebane here? Yeah. We're getting pretty close though with the Talon Priest, Divine Spirit, Inner Fire. When we have enough mana as well. So like on our Scalebane it would go to 8-16. Great. Good that we didn't play the Talon Priest there. We can do it this turn though, so that's 8-16 there, plus 6 is 22, plus 2 is 24, so 1 damage off. But maybe we should just fire it off anyway. Put our opponent to 1, let's go and just develop our board. Yeah, if we had 1 more mana, we could have like oh no, we need a couple more to heal and play our other Inner Fire. So the opponent probably needs a Quality Consecrate here to. Nope. Just gonna play some Murlocs. Ah, the Megazord. I don't know what. Poisonous. Nice. Yeah, wow. So our opponent had a really awkward hand there. Like a lot of expensive cards. Everyone's being so nice today. We got 2 well playeds. And we went 3-0 with a budget deck. At rank 10. Now we're at rank 9, so that's where the real killers come out. Well, great. I'm going to stop it there for the YouTube video. As always, you can check out the full VODs on Twitch after they're up. But I'm really happy with that. The deck performed far above my expectations. I think some of the card choices were pretty good. Maybe the Kooky Chemist was a bit overkill there, but you know, we certainly saw use out of quite a lot of those cards. So we'll be back in a couple of days with the next budget deck. Let me know what you want to see. I've got some decks that I definitely want to play. And if you've got any recommendations, let me know. As always, you can find me on all the links here, and they'll always be in the YouTube description. Shout outs to Sewerslvt for the tunes. And until the next time, have a good one.